Happy Friday, Floss Tube. Today is a very exciting day for me. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. As you can see, I am finally back with one of my all-time favorite projects. This is Modern Folk Embroidery's Mystery Stitch Along from 2018. Excuse me. And I am currently stitching both February's installment, and I've moved over into March because I wanted to complete the top border, and I figured since the entire pattern has been released now, there's no point in me sticking to one page at a time. I don't usually like to work that way anyway. It is February 1st, so today's the day that I get to switch my projects for the month. I do, in the interest of honesty, I am still going to be carrying on with my Ginger Gerald Stories of the North piece because I am so close to a finish that I'm not going to put that one away. So I've carried that one over. I'm going to finish it up this weekend, either hopefully tonight or tomorrow, and then my other small piece will take its place. So that's the plan. I'm probably going to record this video in two parts today. It is already noon here in London, Ontario, and I am headed over in a few minutes to record the Fiber Friends podcast with my knitting friends, Adrian and Louise. So I only have about 15-20 minutes to sit and put in a few stitches at this particular moment, but I just couldn't wait any longer. I really just couldn't wait. I've been so excited all day, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to take a few minutes and get my frame set up and get it started. My tension on the fabric is a little loose, and normally that wouldn't bother me from the usual way that I stitch, but I'm not sure if you've noticed yet, but I am practicing my dominant hand on top instead of, I usually stitch this way when I stitch two-handed, but today I'm practicing doing it this way because I've got my camera set up from the other side, and when I stitch this way I completely cover up what I'm doing, but if I do it this way then you can still see my stitches, and it's an excellent way for me to practice my my reverse way of doing it. So I am a lot slower doing it this way, but the only way I'm going to get faster is if I actually make myself practice. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to do that. I am just going to tighten the top bar just a little bit more, see if I can, see if I can get just a little bit tighter fabric tension on these scroll rods. I think that might just help a little bit. I'm using my Hearthside Craftworks floor frame. It's a scroll rod system. It's a small company from, see, I automatically do this, so I have to really think carefully about what I'm doing. It's a small business in Calgary, Alberta, and they make wonderful stitching frames, and just wonderful. So I keep this one upstairs, and then I have my shiny new Lowry frame downstairs for my smaller projects and my Q-snaps. I eventually will try my scroll rods on that as well next month when I have my two main projects. Oops, see, I still want to do this. My two main projects on scroll rods. I will try out the frame adapter at that point. Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I am so much slower with this hand. on top. It really feels just a little bit awkward. Well, not a little bit awkward. It feels out of my comfort zone. But, you know, it only makes sense that the only way we get better at something is if we practice it. So let's carry on. So yes, February the 1st, brand shiny new month. I can't believe we're already into February. Honestly, the days are just flying. And I know I'm sure it's the same for you, especially if you have, you know, busy families. It just seems to just absolutely fly by. So I should tell you a little bit about my what I'm working on in case you're new here. Oh, in case you're new here, my name is Caroline and welcome to my channel. I do 2 videos a week. Monday is a regular floss tube update and Friday is a stitch with me. And the Friday video is accompanied by a wonderful group on Facebook called Friday Off the Grid. And we try to get ourselves together individually to stitch on a project for 6 hours from 6 p.m. your time until midnight and make some progress on our whips and then share progress pictures on the Facebook group. So again, it's called Friday Off the Grid and it's a Facebook group. And there is a question. There are 2 questions to be answered in order to be accepted into the group. And they might seem like silly questions, but when you have a name like Off the Grid, you would be, well, maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but you'd be surprised at how many people looking for off-grid living or survivalist homesteading groups will try to join. So that's why those questions are there, not because I'm trying to be Captain Obvious, but because it's just helpful to try and weed out the people that don't really want to be there. So anyway, so I'm stitching this on a 40 count linen from R&R Reproductions. And the colorway of the fabric is called Patriot's Brew. I think the color representation is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a little warmer in reality than it's showing up on the screen. Just a little bit warmer. So, and the thread that I'm using is, I'm sad to say, a long discontinued silk thread by Vicki Clayton called Zafra Cobalt, and I have it both in a single ply silk and a 6-strand silk that was sent to me by a lovely viewer down in the States so that I could have enough to finish my project. Excuse me, a little bit of a tickle in my throat today. So, and I have talked about that several times before, but just in case you're new, we always have new friends coming to visit, so it's nice that you know what's going on as well. Now, I'm going to sew my end in, but let's see how close I am to the camera. Hopefully I won't knock it too badly. There we go. All right, let's sew our end in. Like much of northern North America, we've been experiencing a tremendous cold spell the last 3 days, and we are finally at the tail end of it. Just this afternoon, it is supposed to start warming up again out of the absolute deep freeze that we've been. Now, you know what? I can't find my end. Where is my end? Oh, this was the skein I hadn't started yet. So I have 2 of these. These were mine, And the other one was the one I hadn't actually started yet. I don't know why I didn't even notice that, but there you go. So just cut my length and go. So it has been extremely cold here. The school buses were canceled yesterday because of the coldness, and the schools were still open, but the school buses were canceled. And so the rule in our house has always been, if the buses are canceled, then the kids don't have to go to school, because if the kids who ride the school bus get a snow day, then my kids should get a snow day too. And frankly, the teachers should get a snow day too. So Nicholas was very, very happy yesterday morning. I think I'm a little crooked, but we're just going to have to make do for now, because I need it. This is a 40 count linen, and so I need it close enough to my face so that I can see it. And my needle just decided to come undone. There we go. All right, so I'm going to work the top triangle here probably for the rest of the video. I should check the time and get myself, see, naturally want to stick that left hand on top. Okay, so it's about 12:15. I can fit in a few more minutes. Let's see what we can do. Got a nice new long length of thread. Trying to find those holes from the back with the other hand. Be a little tricky. So I am stitching this one strand of floss over two threads of linen, which is absolutely one of my favorite combinations. I love 40 count. I have some 46 count in my stash from Nancy's Victorian Motto Sampler Shop. I bought the fabric and the threads last year to do the Eliza Bellcock sampler. So I'm not sure when I'm going to start it, because I am really trying hard not to have new starts this year. So it probably will be a 2020. Can you believe that? 2020. A 2020 start. Because I am thinking, and I can't find that hole. Come on, you can do it. There we go. I'm thinking of, maybe Eliza Bellcock's might be my New Year's start. It's not too early to think about that, is it? To plan and dream about New Year's starts already? Nah. It's good to get excited about these things. Then we can, appreciate what we have, right? That's the goal. I still have not succumbed to Jakob's newest mystery stitch along, Modern Folk Embroidery. He has a new one out for 2019, and what I have seen of it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. But that and the Game of Swans, someone did message me that they are starting it on Instagram, and I haven't been on Instagram very much lately. I need to go in and follow her so that I can watch her progress on that. So yes, so far, no other pattern purchases or starts, no other new starts. And I'm doing really well. I'm feeling pretty darn good about it. It's been it feels nice to put some progress into some stuff. I have had 2 knitting finishes in the month of January. I finished a shawl at the very beginning of the month. I'm going to have to check this close up. I think I may have. No, I'm good. Okay, we're good. And a couple of days ago, I finished a sock. And it was the second sock of a pair, which felt even better. So it was a true finish. And I can put them on my feet now. Well, I can't put them on my feet until after I've shown the second sock on the Fiber Friends podcast because, well, no one wants to see a used sock on a podcast. So, okay, I'm going to switch back. I can't. There, I got to go to the top with my usual way, and let's see how fast I can zip my way up to the top. Because I'm struggling with the camera placement with where my eyes are to see. And maybe that's just a little bit too much of a challenge for me at the moment, considering I just want to get to the top here before I have to leave. I can't leave it undone. Just a few more stitches. Isn't that the truth at bedtime when you're really into something that you're stitching and you think, oh, I can't go to bed until I finish this little section here, or one more thread, and then you finish that thread and you think, oh, just one more thread, just one more stitch. And I know that there are lots of patterns out there that have that sort of sentiment on it where you want to just do one more stitch. But there, I made it to the top. Oh, that was satisfying. Okay, there. Now, got my magnet in place, and it is, oh my goodness, it's 20 after 12. I better get a wriggle on. I will pick this up, and I'm going to definitely want to put a few more stitches in with a cup of coffee when I get home from recording with my friends. And I'll fill you in on anything that happens with them. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. It is now, it is 20 to 4, and I have a hot cup of coffee, and I am ready to put a few more stitches into my beautiful piece. As you can see, I've switched the camera angle over to the other side because I wanted to, now that the light has changed and I no longer have natural light, it's mostly just my LED light now that I'm working with. I did not want to be having to worry about making making a big mistake with my stitching. So there we go. Okay, off to the races. So I had a wonderful time recording Fiber Friends with Adrienne and Louise. It was pretty typical, lots of laughs, lots of bad jokes, and lots of knitting. So just really good friends. So that was fun. I don't know if I told you this before in the first part of this video, but John has taken the kids away this weekend for a weekend at the cottage. Believe it or not, the lake is now frozen enough for the path for them to snowshoe over to the cottage. So he took the kids up. They left first thing this morning, and I have been waiting for a text from him saying that they had arrived. I'm always slightly anxious until I get that text saying that I know that they're safe and the car ride went well and that they're on their way. Okay, so I'm going to have to move this in order to flip my stand. Otherwise, I'm going to knock the camera too much. Okay. So while we were recording, I told the girls, I might have to answer my phone. I am expecting a text from John, and it took a while. It was a little longer than I had hoped before I'd heard from him. I was starting to, wonder what the heck was going on. But then he messaged me and sent me a picture, and all was well. I'm just going to have to count this carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's this one. Let's double check the counting. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Look at that. I actually got it right. So he sent me the loveliest picture of the kids on the ice in their snowshoes and their winter gear. And so I thought I would share it with you. I thought you might like to see what it looks like to go for an overwater trek in the middle of a Canadian winter up in Georgian Bay. So I'm going to put that picture in right here. As you can see, they look like they're having a lot of fun. I am not one for going over the ice. I'm not a fan. I like my 2 feet on solid ground. So, and I have a fair bit of work that I'd like to get done this weekend for Evertote to get those orders out next week in good time. So I very happily said that I would stay home and take advantage of a quiet house. So I'm kind of looking for, oh, that's in the wrong spot. However, let's go with it. I thought I was going to start this leaf, but the stitch that I've done is just this one here. So let's go with it. Let's just do that little one first. I'm so happy to be stitching this design again. It's one of my favorites in my stash, I have to say. I haven't gotten tired of it. I just love looking at the colors. I love looking at the design. I don't even mind that I'm now a year behind with Jakob putting out this design, because I like knowing what it's going to look like now. I'm excited about the finish, and you know, heaven knows when that will be. And that's, I don't even care. I don't even care. This is one of those projects that I am not going to want to end. Somebody said it really well on Facebook, and I cannot for the life of me remember which project it was or who made the comment, but they said, you know, someone was finishing up something, and she said a finish is always bittersweet, and that is just the truth. That's just, there's so much truth in that. A project that you have loved working on so much, seeing it finished, there's that sense of incredible, you know, hooray, I did it, and finally, thankfully, it's done. But there's also that, especially if it's a project that you've just loved working on so much, and it's done, and then you're sad that it's done because you didn't really want it to end because you loved working on it so much. That's this project for me. I could stitch on this one happily and never see it finished because it's just, I love everything about it. I love working on it. So my goal for February for this piece is to finish the first 3 months, January, February, and March, which would take me all the way across to the far right of the design. And, you know, in a minute, I'll show you the piece as a whole, what I've got done. So that's what I'd like to have happen for my progress for February. Now, as to whether or not that's actually going to happen, it's doable. This is not a full coverage piece. You know, these little motifs, they tend to go fairly quickly when you sit down and focus your energy on it. Lisa on the Facebook group has been putting some work into hers, and it's coming along quite quickly. And there's another stitcher, and I can see your Instagram name. It's LAP, but I can't for the life of me think of your name. But you are stitching yours in the most beautiful shade of cranberry red, and it's a variegated floss. It's just stunning. And I know you're working on yours as well. And there are numerous people working on their project. And seeing everybody's come to life is just so fun. And my needle just came out. So I'm going to have to flip my frame and rethread my needle. There we go. I am a diehard thread licker. I will admit it. Just a habit. I will probably always lick my thread. The only time I don't lick my thread is when I'm stitching with wool tapestries. I don't lick the wool. That would just be gross. But I am a floss licker. Floss lickers unite. There's been some conversation lately. I got a message the other day from, I was talking to Kyle. His floss tube channel is Stitching in Sound. And Kyle and I were having a conversation, and out of the blue, he said, this is a random question, but I've heard that some people in Canada have milk in bags. And is this true? And it's such a funny question because we have had this discussion on this channel last year. I don't remember when, but it was quite a while ago. So for anyone who is new and you've never heard of milk in bags, yes, here in southwestern Ontario and in many other places across Canada, not everywhere, but lots of places in Canada, we buy our milk in plastic bags. And we have a special jug that we put those plastic bags in order to pour our milk. It's not messy. It's very simple to use, very straightforward. We buy them in Canada. We use the metric system, so we buy them in 4. So each bag is slightly more than a liter, because you buy a 4-liter bag, big bag. Oh. This thread keeps wanting to come out. We buy a 4-liter big bag, and inside that big bag are 3 individual plastic pouches of milk. And so each individual pouch of milk is just slightly more than a liter. I guess it would be 1 1/3 liter of milk. And that pouch or bag of milk goes in an upright plastic holder jug that has a handle on it. You snip off the corner of the bag and pour your milk. It's easy. Not a lot of waste when your milk is gone. Easy to buy. And that's how we buy our milk. And it's fascinating to me how people just can't, they think it's weird to buy milk in bags. But we think it's pretty normal to us. I'd never known a different way. Milk has always been in bags since I was a little kid. So funny. It's funny how things are different around the world. And I know when we had this discussion last year, there were other people from around, I think in Scotland, there was somebody who had some milk in bags, and there was a couple of northern states I want to say Wisconsin. Also maybe had some milk in bags as well. It's kind of fun. I'm going to try and get 3 more stitches. And this particular length of floss, I think I'm going to be done with it because it really, for some reason, it's not, I have a feeling it's the angle that I'm stitching on. It's a little awkward today with the angle of the camera. And this floss, that's okay. So in January, the Stitch With Me videos that I did, I worked on all 3 of my projects. There was only one project that I repeated in a Stitch With Me video, and that was my Dido. And then I worked on Corners and Curves and also Ginger Gerald's Stories of the North. So for the month of February, I'm going to only be working on my modern folk embroidery piece for my Stitch With Me videos. And the reason for that is because my 2 other pieces are, well, the other piece that's big, the True Blue, I don't think I have a chance of filming that for a Stitch With Me video and not completely messing it up. There's just a million different color changes in that, and I need to concentrate. So this one, it's one color, it's one length of floss, and you just go, and I can chat easily while stitching it. And my other small, that one I'm just going to save for stitching at night, late at night when I'm tired and just want to put a few stitches into something beautiful. So I think that it's going to be fun. The month of February, you're going to see progress on just one picture every Friday night, and you'll see modern folk embroidery. And if you're stitching it along with me, make sure to tag me in your photos so that I can be inspired by your progress as well. And it's like our own little stitch along. Okay, so I've done that length of thread, and I have a bit more work to do today before I can put my party pants on with you and stitch tonight. Now, because my family isn't here, that means that I get to put on whatever I want to watch on the television. And you can bet that it's going to be a whole lot of floss tube and probably a girly movie that my husband wouldn't have.